Hey, Zeroragi here with another video review, and today, as you can probably guess, I'll be taking a look at Titan's Return Leader Class Overlord. Now, normally I've pre-recorded a lot of my videos, which is why I was able to get so many out, but due to various circumstances I haven't had the chance to record in a while, and part of that is I've had to completely change my review setup, so I'm in a spot where it's a bit more echoey than I would like, but I'm going to try and deal with that as things go. But, with that said, we'll be starting off with Overlord's Headmaster, Titan Master, whatever. I believe in the American release, which is what I've got, he's called Dreadnought. But as far as I'm concerned, the Headmaster is just the robot and the rest of it is a Transtector. But as you can see, he's mostly black, gray, silver, a tiny bit of teal, and some very, very slight gold paint there on the face. Mine's got a bit of a wibbly arm, because for whatever reason, the upside down face on his back is loose. In terms of posability, it's standard Titan Master posability. Head can tilt side to side, go back and forth, and rotate all the way around. Well, it's much harder than it should be. Arms can go up that far. Can't really go out at all, though, because of the weird shape of his back. This arm can go all the way up very easily, and this one's wibbly. His legs can go forward that far at the hip. Can't really go back. And they can bend for seating positions. That's pretty much about it for this guy's posability. And Overlord doesn't really come with any weapons for him to interact with, so let's move on. And here we have one half of Overlord, his tank mode, or as it's called in the very original series, the Giga Tank. You can see it's mostly blue with a bit of teal, gray, white, purple, and some translucent orange. View from above. The exposure's a little off. And view from below. It's just a robot's crotch. There is no posability in the turret, unfortunately. It just is what it is. You can open this canopy here. It's actually fairly well detailed in there. Of course, you can take, little Overlord and then just plop him down in there. But me personally, I like to use the translucent Solus Prima. That messed up. I use Solus along with him because they are pretty much the same mold and look fairly similar, so I use them as stand-ins for Giga and Mega. And so I usually use Prima as Giga, because Giga was a guy. Okay, but anyway, so I just like to take not Giga and just drop him in there. And of course, if you don't like that, you can have someone standing on this little 2mm port or post. He's got one here, several back there. So you can just stand someone there, or however you want to do it. And then we have the other half of Overlord's body, the jet mode, or the Mega Jet. You can see it's mostly black with some silver and teal paint, white, purple, that translucent orange again. It's a shame there's no actual thrusters. They did kind of try to make the hinge look like it, but they sort of failed. And below. And it's just the upper torso of a robot. And of course, you do have some playability. You can take the landing skids and bring them up or bring them down or fold them up. You can also open the canopy. And again, it's fairly well detailed in there. Now, of course, you can just take Dreadnought and drop him in there. It might help if I bring the landing skid down. And there's just a little slot in there for that tab on the back of his legs to go into. Can be kind of hard to finagle thing just right, especially when you have big sausage fingers like me. But you can get him in there, but in my case, I usually use the special Solus Prime, like I said, to act as Mega. And so you can just fold her legs up, and that same slot tab affair going on in there. Just close that up. There you go. And of course, he has more 2mm ports all over him. So you can take, you know, Dreadnought, Solus, Prima, or whoever the heck you want, and just stand him on there. So, you know, you can just plop that on like that. I said plop on, darn you. You know, like that, or back there, or however you want to do it. One thing you can do is you can take the gun off of the tank mode and plug it into this port back here and have that, I guess. Let's just get rid of that. Now, of course, these guys do have a sort of combined vehicle mode. Now, how this works is pretty simple. You just take the Giga Tank and just leave it there. Now, these slots here on the side will come into play. You take the Mega Jet, fold up the landing skid, and then take these white panels, swing them out, and then there are tabs right here that will just sort of sit in those slots. Unfortunately, I don't actually lock in. Let's see if I can actually do this on camera. It just goes into there. And there you have the combined jet tank thing. It can do it. Yeah, okay. Let's just move on to the base mode. The base mode is nothing spectacular, but it's not bad. It's mostly black with some teal, blue, white, gray, purple, and then translucent parts where necessary. Oh, I missed my sheet. It's in the wash right now. But here's a view from the top of the base. And a view from the bottom. Now, of course, you've got all of these master ports, you know, just 2mm ports all over that you can just plug Titan Masters into. If I can get it right. And they can just stand there or there, and then you can, if you want, you can even take, you know, someone like, you know, not Giga and plug her there, or not Mega, my bad. And then not Giga, plug him there, or over there. There is also a port on this orange platform, and you can plug a headmaster onto, just like that. And of course they can also just sit on that little slot there. But overall, it's nothing spectacular. But it is pretty neat for what it is. Okay, and finally we move on to robot mode. And finally, here we have Overlord in robot mode. He has the exact same colors as base mode, because he just sort of changed position. Just a different assortment of colors are visible now. I really need a turntable. View from above. And from below. His posability is pretty decent. Because he's a leader class, his head can't really move up or down very well because it's all encased in this helmet. But it can rotate all the way around. His arms can actually move outward on two separate joints. There's an actual joint here in the arm, lets it move out that far. And then there is a joint in the body, lets it move out that far that way. And if you combine the two, you can get some pretty good range of motion. And of course, as you saw there, it can move all the way around. There is also a swivel just below the shoulder. Elbow, bend at the elbow. Yeah, elbow at the elbow. I'm not tired. Just over 90 degrees. Nothing at the wrist, nothing at the waist. Legs can move forward that far. Can move backward somehow farther, actually. Can move outward all the way. You can also break his legs if you want, due to some of the transformation. And his legs can bend that far at one joint. And of course, you can move his toes and his heel, as well as tilt the foot. So you can get a pretty good range of motion on this guy. Although a lot of his joints are much looser than I would like. As for accessories, or at least the accessories he comes with out of the box, you've got his purple blaster, which has some paint chipping because of just how tight some of the ports are. But it looks pretty good, kind of hollow. He can, of course, hold that in his hand. And there's just a 5mm port in his hand. You can just plug that in there like that. And if you don't like that, you can store it on him by plugging it into the port there. Or if you want to be really cheeky, you can give him a gun in his butt. But personally, I prefer to have him hold it. And then he has the entire nose cone and cockpit section of his jet mode. Now there are two ways you can either store it or you can have him use it. To use it, you need to bring this out a little bit, and there is a 5mm post that can come out of there. And you can just plug this into his shoulder up here. There's even a little divot right here to go around this panel on his shoulder. Or this little spike thing on his shoulder. And there you can have him with a thing. And if you really want, you can have him holding it in his hand. Because reasons. As for storing it, let's just fold that back up. There are these two clips here. Two tabs that go into these clips up here. Normally for transformation, but they can be used to store it. But for the purposes of the review, come on, I'm going to have him equipping it. So give me just a momento. Just plug that in there. And lastly, he has these panels on his chest that can open up and incorporate to Titan Master, Prime Masters, whatever. But, like I said, in my case, I like to use the special translucent Prima and Solus Prime to act as stand-ins for Giga and Mega. And so Giga goes over here, and Mega goes over here. And that looks pretty neat in my opinion. Or if you want to get really weird with it, you can just take these two out. But if you want to get really weird with it, you can stick heads into his chest. And basically have him be a head collector. Because, you know, that's not creepy. Now, due to the unique uniformity of the Titan Master Prime Master thing, you can swap his head out. So you can just open that up, pop his noggin off, and plop something else in there, like Blitzwing's head. And it will fit in there and look completely ridiculous. Or to get super creepy, you can take Solus and stick her in there. Oop. Yeah, get back here. Yeah. That was not supposed to happen. Okay, well, there are these clips, or that clip in there that's supposed to grip around the little robot head. Just close it up in there, and you have nightmare fuel for the next few days. Let go. Let's just go ahead and put Overlord's head back on. I know I didn't do any size comparison, but that's because I have lost my soda can, and I couldn't let you guys go a second week without any reviews, so I figured I'd have to just make do with what I've got. So this has been my review of the Leader Class Overlord from Titan's Return. So until next time, bye-bye.